Welcome to this explainer. Today we are diving into a really profound piece of wisdom about the spiritual path. We're going to explore why the most meaningful progress we make is often found not in moments of peace, but actually in our deepest inner struggles. So, this opening quote, wow, it really makes you think, doesn't it? It completely flips our usual idea of spirituality on its head. Instead of chasing a quiet, peaceful life, it says that the real journey, the one that's truly realized, happens on the battlefields of the self. So, what is this battlefield, and why on earth is it so important? Let's get into it. This wisdom is telling us something pretty radical. It's saying the path to God isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about engaging with it, right inside of ourselves. That struggle you feel, it's not a bug in the system. It's the entire feature. It's where your sincerity is actually built and put to the test.
To really get a handle on this battlefield, you've got to know the main player, and that's the nafs. You can think of it as our ego or our lower self. It's that part of us that's just, well, it's a whirlwind of competing desires, attachments to our own opinions, and all these illusions we have about who we are.
And here's the thing. The problem isn't having a self. We're human, right? The real spiritual work is becoming aware of how it's working. So you have to ask yourself, where do my stumbles come from? Is it from chasing some personal gain or a need to be admired? Maybe even that sneaky spiritual vanity where you kind of think you've figured it all out. Just knowing the source, that's the first huge step. And this is really the heart of it. That inner struggle, it's not some detour you should try to avoid. It's the proving ground. It's the friction that shows what you really want. Do you truly want God, or are you just chasing what your lower self wants? It is the ultimate test of sincerity. Okay, so if the whole battle is happening inside us, that brings up a really interesting question, right? How do you even measure progress? Well, the answer completely redefines what we think of as nearness to God. This is just extraordinary. Get this. What it's saying is that the journey to God isn't about moving through space. You don't travel to Him with your feet. You don't measure the distance in miles. The entire road is inward. This really breaks it down for us. An outer journey, that's simple. It's about covering physical ground. But this inward journey is about changing your internal condition. It's about lifting the veils that are blocking your own vision, not about crossing some road that separates you. You see, you're not far from God in terms of distance. You might only be far in terms of your inner state. The real barriers, the veils, they're all inside us. Being preoccupied with ourselves, our heedlessness, our attachments to, well, everything, and just the constant noise of our own ego and distractions. All right, so we've established the journey is inward. So, how do you see in the dark? How is this path actually lit up for us? Well, the Source talks about this beautiful idea of divine lights that start to rise within you. These flashes of insight, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. The text says they have rising places, just like the sun. They first start to dawn in the heart, and then, as your journey gets deeper, they light up the very core of your being. Of course, this means you need a heart that's ready to receive them. And check this out. There are actually stages to this inner light. The light of traces is kind of like seeing a masterpiece painting and appreciating the incredible skill of the artist. But then, the light of attributes is like actually meeting the artist and beginning to understand their very nature. It's a huge shift from just seeing the signs of God to directly knowing the attributes of God. And this next part is, for me, maybe the most stunning insight in this whole teaching. We've talked about light, but what about the darkness? What about those times when the path just feels hard, confusing, and dry? Think about that for a second. It's a total paradox, right? We all chase that feeling of expansion, those bright, easy, spiritually sweet days. But this is suggesting that the real gifts might be hidden in the night of constriction, in the very difficulties we try so hard to run away from. Let's put these side by side. The day of expansion. Yeah, that feels great. It's full of ease and clarity. It soothes you. But the night of constriction, with all its heaviness and confusion, it does something totally different. It exposes you. It shows you who you really are when all that spiritual sweetness is gone. So at the end of the day, constriction is like a crucible. It reveals what you're truly depending on. When those good feelings disappear, does your devotion disappear with them? It forces you to ask the most honest question there is. Do you worship God, or do you just worship good spiritual feelings? And it's in that pressure that a much deeper, more real faith can be born.
And just when you think you've got it all figured out, there's this one last, super subtle warning. The journey isn't just about avoiding the obvious problems. Even the good stuff, those beautiful experiences, the divine lights, even they can become a trap if your heart just stops there, satisfied, instead of continuing toward the source of it all. This is the bottom line. The goal is not the spiritual high. It's not the beautiful feeling or the deep insight. Those are just signs along the road. They're not the destination. The point is, and always will be, the one who gives you the state in the first place. Getting attached to anything short of him, even really good things, can become its own kind of veil.
So this whole explainer kind of leaves us with a really challenging question to sit with. After everything we've looked at, what if the greatest lessons on your path are hidden not in the easy, bright moments, but in the moments of darkness? To close, we'll share a beautiful prayer from the text that really captures this entire inward journey. Oh God, help us in the battlefields of our own souls, and do not let them cut us off from you. Lift from our hearts the veils of heedlessness and selfish desire. Open for us lights that show us the path to you. And do not let us stop with any state, any sweetness, or any light short of you. Thank you for joining this explainer.